myself in times of trouble. Mother Mary comes.
Corrections officer convicted of raping women.
Speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
Scandal at the Milwaukee County Jail. At its center, a Milwaukee County Corrections officer.
Shaquana Gardner.
By jail guards, and in an attempt to cover it up. Dramatic videotape evidence released today in the trial of 5 jail guards accused of improperly trying to control an out-of-control inmate.
My brother's name is Gardner. He is 17 years old currently. In May of 2009, exactly May 14, 2009, he was arrested at the age of 16, and since then he has been incarcerated in Rikers Island.
43-year-old Ricardo Walters robbed, kidnapped, and terrorized women on Long Island beginning in 2005.
Several weeks ago, I got a phone call from my mother, and she told me that earlier that morning, at approximately 9:30 that morning, my brother and all of the members of his cell block were taken outside. I'm not sure, it's unclear whether or not they were taken outside or they were already outside in the basketball court. But prior to, two juvenile inmates had fought. And just for background information, my brother's in the cell block of 16 and 17-year-olds. So there's 16, 17-year-olds, and then there's 18 through 21, and then 21 and over is like adult, and under 21 is juvenile. So he's in like juvenile. So they were in the basketball court. The 2 inmates had fought earlier. So it is, to my understanding, as I was told, that the sergeant had come out with obviously several other correction officers, and he had said, you know, I heard that it was only 2 inmates who was fighting. Obviously he lined all of them up after the fight or whatever, and he was like, I heard that there was only 2 inmates fighting, so I'm not gonna fuck all of y'all. He's like, I'll just fuck. He's like, I'll just check y'all, whatever. So the guy's like, okay. So he's like, damn, we got to do, one of the other officers, he says, damn, we got to do a check, all right, we got to bring him inside. So the sergeant says, bring him inside for what? So as it was told to me, people were thinking like, are you kidding me? Are we sure that what's about to happen is about to happen? And so the sergeant says, strip. And so everyone's like, are you serious? And he's like, I'm dead serious, strip. So they take off their shirt. He tells them, take off your shirt, take off your pants, take off your shoes. So please be aware, this is late November in New York City, so it's approximately like 45 degrees outside.
Police say 43-year-old Ricardo Walters robbed, kidnapped, and terrorized women on Long Island beginning in 2005.
And then they down to their boxers, and then he says, take off your boxers. And that's when people are starting to like, the boys are like, no.
Corrections officer
Pulls out a bag of marijuana, and he says, he goes up to one of the boys who is rejecting his command. He says, oh, you know, I know your charges, and I know you can't afford to have something like this caught on you in here, so you will do it, or this will be caught on you. He's like, and I know your charges too. He's like, and if y'all want to get crazy, I got some white stuff, implying that he has cocaine and he'll plant it on them.
Jamie Toro, a second guard rushes in. That's Glenn Cummings, and the tape clearly shows him stomping his foot. Prosecutors say he was stomping on the prisoner, to the point that there was a boot print on the prisoner's shoulder later. Guard Elizabeth Torres comes in the white shirt and tries to settle the group down, but she too is charged with the assault.
Young boys, 16 and 17-year-olds, take their pants off, their boxers, and, they're all butt naked, no shoes on. And the officers, the correctional officers, take the clothes, as it was told to me, and put them in the middle of the basketball court, or off to the side, away from the boys. And the officers say, okay, now go get your clothes. So, but they just threw them in a pile. So now all the boys have to run butt naked with no shoes to a pile of clothes and flip through and find out whose boxers is whom.
43-year-old Ricardo Walters robbed, kidnapped, and terrorized women on Long Island beginning in 2005.
You know, we're going to file a complaint. The sergeant says, go right ahead. You don't know my name, and covers his badge immediately. And so he just goes off like everything is okay. Like that was completely legal and rational.
5 jail guards accused of improperly trying to control an out-of-control inmate.
You've never had a family member who is young, 16, 17 years old, be beat to a pulp, beat to death, sliced, stabbed, harassed. You've never experienced that.
By jail guards and in an attempt to cover it up.
But you have to question, when does the line get crossed? And how would you feel if it was your brother who was stripped of his pride, of his dignity, dehumanized, demeaned? How would you feel if it was you, if it was your son, if it was your nephew, if it was your uncle, if it was your father? How would you feel? Ask them, how would you feel to walk around in front of grown men and have to dig through a pile of clothes with other boys your age, butt naked, everything else? Does that make you a man? Does that make you learn your lesson? Will you now know not to rob someone allegedly or punch someone in the face allegedly? Is that what the penal system in the United States and New York State, is that what the penal system says we need to do to teach people lessons? Is this what we have come to be?
What's the one thing that your brother wanted people to know from this experience?
From what I got from him, he wanted people to just really know what happened. Whether he knows when you commit a crime you need to be in jail, but he also knows that he has rights, and he wants people to know I have rights too.
The battle ahead will be long, but always remember that no matter what obstacles stand in our way, nothing can stand in the way of the power of millions.
Is this justice?